everyone, this is me, Govish1994, and I'm back with another review. Today I'm reviewing this book, the third entry of the Captain Underpants series, called Captain Underpants and the Invasion of the Incredibly Naughty Cafeteria Ladies from Outer Space, and the subsequent assault of the equally evil examiners. I can't even say the title correctly, and I've read this book for over 3 years now. And this book is how old? How old now? Over 10 years now? Anyways, this is the third epic novel by Dave Pilkey. Tons of laughs, tons of fun, lots of laughs, flip-o-rama, and some copies, again, Flippy-rama instead, and apparently this one has green apple, and the Attack of the Toilets also has green apple, which I'm suggesting that they released the older copies of this book, so yeah. So let's start with the review. So the book starts out with an asteroid in the skies zooming right past all the houses, and people don't really seem to realize them. But then they land on a school, which is Jerome Horsway Elementary School, the school that George and Harold go to, and they stay there. They had 3 aliens. I forget their names because they're pretty. They're not main characters of the series. Well, they're the villains of the book, obviously. So they plan their way of deciding to start their invasion here at the school. And I wonder, out of every single elementary school there is, it has to be Jerome Horsway. Maybe something attracts them there. Maybe they have a signal of the superpowered, Captain Underpants there. Probably. Sorry for that little interruption. So, the spaceship goes on the school, and let's just say it's the next day, straightforward. They plan their mission, and the next day. So, Mr. Fide, the science teacher, I'm just gonna call him the science teacher, because his name's, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Mr. Fide, I don't know. It's spelled F-Y-D-E. He explains this volcano experiment. He explains this experiment thing while George and Harold are pranking him with cat sounds and dog growls. They keep doing it, and the children try not to laugh while saying it's nothing. Mr. Fide says that he needs to go get I think I'm saying it right. Mr. Fide says that he needs to go get a doctor, and that the kids says that he shouldn't. And he decides to pull out a volcano and does that vinegar and baking soda thing where it kind of explodes or something with that. And once the two boys ask him to explain what happens, while he's in the middle of explaining, they start doing the same sounds, and he goes to see a doctor because he had enough of this. And in the next book, something devastating is going to happen to Mr. Fide. Oh no, what could it be? We'll find out in the Captain Underpants and the Player's Plot of Professor Poopy Pants review coming soon. And alright, let's continue on with this. So I believe that they get an idea with baking soda and vinegar and make a prank. So they go home and they make this little Mr. Krupp's birthday list thing. Mr. Krupp's Crispy Krupp Cakes. Yep. Actually, that's pretty clever. Good work on you, Dave Pilkey. Sorry, I'm still feel a little sick after this weekend. Anyways, so the the two boys, when they're done, they go to school and they tape it onto the lunch lady's door. The lunch ladies eventually find the note, and apparently they decide to make enough for the entire school, since one batch equals 10 cupcakes, I believe. 12, 10. So what happens next is I'm gonna do it right now. Kabloosh! Yeah, I know, super bad, cringy kabloosh there, but don't worry. Let's just say, long story short, it explodes, and apparently green goop splats all over the place. It spreads through the walls, it spreads through the water fountains, even to the text on the page. I mean, how is that even possible? Is, like, the text part of the school? That must be just weird. I wish I had text on my school. I'd be like in a book, like, let's just say, like, this Goji Madzilla 1994 discovers green goop in school. The first epic novel by whoever made it. And then the book shows like that. Anyways, off track. George and Harold discovered this accident, and it wasn't their fault in technical things, but they were the one who created the recipe, so I'm assuming they are saying that it's not their fault because they meant for them to make 10 of them, but they decided to make enough for the entire school. Instead, they just made enough green goop to cover the entire school for everyone in the entire school to see. So they decided to run for it. So this is the moment where they try to explain. Mr. Krupp says they know it's George and Harold, but do they have any proof? I would definitely have proof. You see, George and Harold have bad writing and bad drawings, right? Well, I would show their parents, if I was Mr. Krupp, like if I was mean and everything, I would show them the proof by how they spell it, and on the recipe thing, how they spell, unless if it got like swashed away and all that green goop, but they cleaned it up. I bet they found it. Of how George writes the words and how Harold draws the balloons. That would be my proof. The lunch ladies say that they've been pranking them and everything, and they've been constantly making awful comic books about them. They hold a comic book, because George and Harold apparently made one, and it's about the Captain Underpants fighting some living lunch ladies. They say that it obviously is them that caused it. But unfortunately, Mr. Krupp can't punish George and Harold unless if they have proof. So the lunch ladies decide to quit, and Mr. Krupp has to find new lunch ladies he has to get new lunch ladies by the end of that day, and surprisingly, the 3 aliens that I mentioned from last time are back. They see that Mr. Krupp is hiring new cafeteria ladies, so they get hired, and everything's all good again. So George and Harold decide to go to the cafeteria. No, that's a bit too far. Okay, so George and Harold get called on the intercom, and they go to Mr. Krupp's office, and it's revealed that George and Harold's privileges for cafeteria food is now restricted. Which, if my cafeteria food things were restricted, I wouldn't have a problem actually, because well, there's pretty much no problem. So George and Harold the next day bring their own foods, and this is a bit disgusting, but alright, I'm gonna say this in you might say, like, ew, after this video, or after I say it, but I kind of want to I kind of actually want to know how do those sandwiches taste. Because apparently George has like this peanut butter gummy worm sandwich, and Harold has this tuna marshmallow sandwich. Mr. Krupp says that's disgusting and wants some barbecue sauce with that. And then there's dessert. I do not want to tell you what they have for dessert. Let me tell you that. Let's just say it's enough to get Mr. Krupp to turn green. I guess he's now Green Krupp, and he turns to the door and storms out the building to get some fresh air. So George and Harold have enough time while Mr. Krupp is gone to change the letters, but they notice that the letters have been changed and all the kids are turning into evil zombie nerds. This can only mean one thing. Stay tuned for part 2 where I talk about the battle between Captain Underpants, the waistband warrior, and the 3 devastating, incredibly naughty Cafeteria ladies from outer space. And the zombie nerds. This is Goji Madzilla 1994 signing out.